2 cops showed up at my door with handcuffs telling me I was under arrest for HOA violations. My stomach dropped. My hands were shaking and I swear I felt the floor tilt under me. But within minutes I realized they weren't real cops at all. Just actors in rented uniforms, part of a setup designed to destroy me. And the worst part? The whole trap might have been orchestrated by my own wife. It started with something so simple, so ordinary. A deck. $8,000 worth of cedar built as a surprise for my wife Sandra on our 12th anniversary. I hired Michael Carter, the contractor everybody in Maple Ridge swore by, and he did it perfectly, smooth lines, flawless finish, neighbors complimenting me all weekend. Even the Johnsons, who never show up for anything, came over to admire it. I thought I had nailed the anniversary gift. But when Monday morning hit, the violation notice was taped to my door. $200 per day starting immediately for exceeding maximum deck height by 6 inches. 6 inches. Michael had measured everything twice, blueprint signed off by Teresa Edwards, our HOA president. It was impossible. I called Michael and he was just as confused. But Sandra? She barely looked up from her laptop. Tear it down and rebuild. Don't fight Teresa. Her words were so casual, like she was talking about ordering takeout. And I remember thinking, what happened to the woman who once fought the HOA for 3 months over the color of our mailbox? That's when the cracks began to show. Mrs. Wilson, our elderly neighbor, whispered to me that 3 families had left Maple Ridge after similar violations, all using the same contractor. She wouldn't elaborate, just shook her head. Meanwhile, Sandra's late nights got stranger. Files spread across the dining room table, notes with timestamps, pictures, even financial transfers. And one night at 2 a.m., she just disappeared. I caught a glimpse of our BMW's taillights vanishing down the street. When she slipped back into bed at 4:30 a.m., smelling of perfume, I didn't recognize. She pretended nothing happened. The more I looked, the worse it got. Hotel charges on our credit card. Gas receipts from towns 50 miles away. Surveillance equipment stashed in her car. My wife, who supposedly processed Social Security claims for a living, was living a double life, and I had no idea what it meant. When I confronted her, she brushed it off. When I pushed harder, she snapped, accusing me of not trusting her. But then Michael showed me an email he claimed came from Sandra, instructing him to build my deck slightly out of code, promising a bonus upon violation. My wife was setting me up. I can't describe the way my chest collapsed when I realized it. Was she scamming me the same way the HOA had scammed those families? I started watching her like a hawk. I even hid a tiny camera in the living room, and what I saw made my blood run cold. Sandra came home at lunch, photographed the deck from every angle, used a laser tool to measure scribbled notes like she was preparing evidence. She climbed onto the roof to get overhead shots. She wasn't my wife anymore. She was someone else. Someone professional, methodical, maybe even dangerous. Then came the motel. I followed her there after she called in sick. She met a woman who cried the entire time. Sandra comforted her, took notes, even hugged her. Not an affair, but not normal either. When I knocked on the woman's door later, she slammed it in my face. By then, I was unraveling. Was I the crazy one? Was I seeing patterns that weren't there? Some nights I lay awake thinking maybe I should just let it go, file for divorce, walk away before the lies swallowed me whole. But then I'd picture Teresa's smug face, the mounting fines, the way Sandra looked at me with pity instead of love, and the anger would boil back up. The twist came in the form of a USB drive slipped anonymously into my mailbox. Inside were testimonies from 6 families who'd been forced out of Maple Ridge. They named Teresa and Michael as the masterminds, and every single one of them said the same thing: Sandra Roberts helped us. She was gathering evidence for a lawsuit. She was the only one who believed us. I didn't know whether to feel relief or betrayal. Had I been doubting the one person actually fighting for me? Or was it another layer of the con I didn't get to decide before Michael texted emergency? Sandra broke into my van. I have video. Meet me at my office. Alone. My heart raced, and against every instinct I went. His office was staged, too clean, too deliberate. He showed me a shaky video of someone in Sandra's jacket lurking near his van. fake. Obviously fake. And when I called him out, his expression shifted. "You're smarter than I thought," he said, pulling a gun from his desk. My mouth went dry. He admitted everything. He and Teresa had been partners for years, targeting corner lot homes, fabricating violations, forcing families to sell cheap flipping houses for massive profits. 6 victims so far, and I was supposed to be number 7. That's when the knock came. "Police, open up." For a second I thought salvation had arrived, but when I peeked through the peephole my stomach turned. The badges were too shiny, the uniforms stiff like they'd come from a Halloween store. And then I heard her voice. "Sandra, we have a warrant for Joshua Roberts." I yanked the door open, shouting, "These are fake cops!" But they pushed inside, grabbing at my arms. Michael smirked, sliding the gun back into his drawer. "Subject is delusional. Use force if necessary." The taller one reached for me, and that's when Sandra appeared, not in uniform, not in disguise, just Sandra, furious and focused. "Gentlemen," she said coldly, "you're committing felony fraud." The fake cop laughed. "Big mistake." In 3 seconds flat, Sandra twisted his wrist, slammed him face down on the porch, and his badge skittered across the wood. The other guy bolted down the street. Michael lunged for his gun, but Sandra's kick slammed the drawer shut on his fingers. She pointed to her phone, recording everything, including you threatening my husband. Then the real sirens wailed. Squad cars pulled up, and in walked David Walker, an attorney representing the very families Teresa and Michael had ruined. "Sandra's been my investigator for 4 months," he explained. "My wife, my secretive late-night sneaking around wife, was actually a licensed private investigator. The deck, the photos, the motel meetings, the burner phones, all part of her case. She hadn't been cheating. She'd been using our marriage, our home, even me as bait to bring down an HOA scam worth millions." I can't say I felt relief. In that moment, watching Teresa hauled away in cuffs and Michael shoved into a squad car, all I felt was hollow. My wife had lied to me every single day for months. She had let me believe she was unfaithful, a criminal, a stranger, just to protect her cover. Justice was served, sure. The neighborhood was free. But our marriage, our trust, that was left in ashes. Teresa Edwards, the iron-fisted HOA president, was stripped of her power and sentenced to prison. Michael Carter, the helpful contractor, went down with her. Their scheme collapsed in the spotlight of Sandra's investigation. And me, I was left staring at the wreckage of my life, wondering if I'd ever truly known the woman I called my wife. Sometimes the biggest fraud isn't the scam run by your enemies, it's realizing the person you trust most has been lying to you all along.